Hey, whoops. Nope, there I am. Hi, I'm running. I kept the last class too long, so they're all out running out over to the bathroom. They'll be here in a second. Let's go post this on. Let's go post this on our social media pages. Let's go post this on our main website jollyrogerukulele.com. I adjusted the week schedule a little bit yesterday after class because I realized yesterday was a bit of a brain drain, and so we're kind of gonna just take today to play through the instruction we got yesterday, and then move on to the music that's associated with the skill set, right? So, so we're doing a quick reprise of yesterday's lesson. And if you missed yesterday's lesson, you probably do want to go take a look at it. And then today we will be um, moving into. Is that the right? Is that the right page? Is that going in the right spot? I look the same all the time now. Okay, there we go. I'm all blurry. It's interesting that my setup at the house is so much higher caliber, and it's on a much cheaper computer. HEVS Jolly Roger Ukulele.com. Jolly Roger Ukulele.com. And then I'm going to put on our Kick Your Fanny Friday logo. We love arpeggios. Tweet. And let's see. Oh, Nolan Arenado is one of our big baseball players, and they just traded him away, and people are sad and losing their minds. Yeah. um, uh, and there's a part of me that's like, well, we live in Denver. We will show up to whatever type of baseball they put on the field, and we won't. We might grumble about it a little bit, but we don't vote with our feet, and so we end up watching a lot of crummy baseball here. I know most of you who log it in are like, I'm a big baseball fan. I really want to know your opinion on baseball. All right, let's see. Let's see here. Okay. What time is it? We'll wait 2 more minutes. We'll let everybody get settled in here. Sandy, Carol, Cindy, hello, everybody. I'm glad you're here. We are going to be doing a quick reprise. You shouldn't really have needed to print anything out for today that you didn't already print out from yesterday, except for maybe Love Me Tender. That's the only thing you probably need from today. Tonight I'm going to clean up the rest of this page and so that you'll be able to print everything into Friday. Now that I got a sense of where we're at with arpeggio playing. So we're going to take a brief reprise of that today, and then we will move forward. And notice people are exhausted from the changes I had to make. Well, we were doing great, right? We're just like, hey, we're just playing these 8 songs over and over and over, and now we're moving back into new material, and so it gets a little bit dicey about how whether we're having fun or not. And right now, we're not having fun because we're learning new stuff. So we're like, oh God, I kind of hate Gary just a little bit. I don't even know what he's doing half the time. Sandy is in. She says I sound good. That's all that matters. Carol is here. She's in from Western Colorado. Sounds great up in Western Colorado. You're getting some snow, right? Carol should be getting snowed on here in about an hour. And I think they're going to get quite a bit up there. I think that's the plan, Carol. Cindy's in. Cindy is just a snow job anytime that you run into her. She's like, I am a very nice person. And then stuff starts coming out of her mouth. It's very snarky. So, so that's why I don't get along with her because I only say very positive, thoughtful things all of the time. Amy's in. Amy's one of my faves. Janice is in. Janice is my favorite. She logs in. She wakes up in the morning. She's sitting over a bowl of what do you have for breakfast in Australia? Is it just like us? Do you have like grape nuts and Cheerios and Wheaties, or do they have Australian breakfast cereal? That's what I want to know. If they do, I want some. Like I don't know, kangaroo kibble or whatever. Koala. That's the only 2 things we know about Australia, right? Kangaroos and koalas. That's it. That's our complete knowledge of Australia. Elizabeth is in. She's from northern Colorado. Fran is here. Fran's vlogging a lot of hours with me. She's going to be a hardcore musician. Evelyn, great to see you again. Good to see you, Evelyn. 71 degrees and sunny in Cuenca. Yeah, you'll notice Evelyn always says, "Oh, we're having crazy weather here," and it's always like pretty good, pretty close to good, almost perfect, not quite perfect, just pretty good. Lynn is here. Still snowing out in New Jersey, guys. Carol, no! Exclamation point. Some of the last snow is still on the ground. So, Carol, you live in the mountains of Colorado. You're supposed to be pro snow. I don't know. I don't know if they covered that with you on your move-in packet. Cindy's here. You betcha, Gary. Snarky. Here's the only snark we need, Cindy. Right there. Snark. Kari. Yeah. Oh, and kookaburras, right? Right, kookaburra. Crazy kookaburra. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. We're so lame. I'm so lame. Chris is she's logo. We're having a beautiful day here, 60 something and sunny. Janice says breakfast is after ukulele, toast and Vegemite. Oh, Vegemite, Vegemite. We don't do Vegemite here. I don't even know what Vegemite is. Remember, Vegemite sandwich. What is Vegemite? I it's like when you go to Scotland. Janice isn't joining us here in this section. The other Janice, we have a Janice who joins us from Scotland. And when you go to Scotland, they want you to get this stuff that they eat for breakfast. And I think only tourists eat it. It's called blood sausage. And it is horrendous. And I think they give it to you. And they're like, let's see if the tourists will eat this. The other thing they serve is English breakfast, which is dumb. It's just awful, and I don't even know why you kind of count on the English to not have great taste when it comes to food, but come on, there's a limit, right? Renee is in. She's in from New Mexico. But those of you who don't know, New Mexico has its own cuisine, and there's a thing called red chili and green chili, and it is the entire reason why you go to New Mexico is for those two things. And once you've had them, you can never get them anywhere else, and it's just not the same. And you're like, oh, I really like New Mexico. Then you spend a little time in New Mexico, and you're like, no, this isn't really worth red and green chili. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. New Mexico's awesome. Let's see. Clear and sunny, 65 degrees, so they're doing a little better than us. Clay is in from California. Red is in from here, nearby here. Elizabeth, emus. Yeah, right. We know about emus. Marianne, sunshine again in Michigan, 2 days in a row. Sunny and 50 up in Bozeman. Let's see. Yeah, you got snow-headed joy. Linda in from trying Pia score. Thanks to the person who recommended it and made the uke grid on my signature to add to it. Nice, nice. So there we go. See, it's worth hanging out with each other. Janice says you won't want to know about Vegemite. Black and salty. It will grow on your chest. Oh, I don't need any more of those. All right. Yeah. Yeah. Vegemite. Could be worth the green. Yeah, it's pretty worth. All right. Green chili is pretty good. They have better green chili in New Mexico than anywhere else. I don't know how that's possible. All right. Guys, yesterday I had to talk a lot to get where I felt like we were needed to be. Today I want to talk less, and I want to go through and I want to play everything. And so grab ukulele first. We're going to do the arpeggiator prep. We're going to do the first two lines. Okay, so we're going to play the C, the first line in C major, and we'll do that twice. And then we're going to go down to measure 7, and we'll play the G major twice. Okay, so work with me. Again, your goal here on the arpeggiator prep for ukulele is to be smooth, confident, reliable, making this stuff sound pretty. Okay, so grab all 4 strings. Here's that. Baritone players, you of course are doing your C chord, your A minor chord, your F chord, and your G chord, and you're giving us either 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, or 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and you can do whatever you want as long as you think it sounds pretty. You can strum it 1, 2, 3, 4. You could do just 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Do something that augments what we're doing. and double check that you know your C, A minor, F, G, G7, uh, E minor, D, and D7. Okay, so you're double checking that the baritone players that you know what those chords look like on your instrument. We're playing from the ukulele blank from the top. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to stop. I feel guilty about really being a bad conductor there. Since everything's in eighth notes, I should give you the ands, right? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then we should probably play at that pace. So from the top, one more time. Sorry about that. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 1 and 2. Go to the top and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. Next line, here we go. And 1. Okay. I did an iffy job on that. Your job is to figure out how did I do, right? Not me, you. How did you do? Keeping a steady pace, having consistent, even sound quality to your instrument, um, keeping pace with me. We're playing a duet, sort of. Okay, if you're a baritone, your duet's actually fairly easy. If you're a ukulele player, keeping us together is very hard. When you miss a note, are you just moving forward? You're just not you're letting it eat at you. Just whatever. You didn't need that note. Okay, so there's that. Now let's switch over to the baritone version of this, and let's do that. So I'm going to pull that up on my sheet. Dun, 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 dun. Baritone players. So ukulele players, you got to know your G chord, you got to know your E minor chord, you got to know your C chord, you're going to need to know your D chord and your D7. Just lift up your middle finger. Okay. You're also going to need to know your B minor. Bar on 2, ring finger up here, 4th fret, top string. Okay. It's really A minor, B minor. Okay. We already talked about G. Your A chord is right here. Dun, dun, dun. A7 is just one finger. Those are your chords. Okay. Some of you knew that. Some of you didn't. If you don't know that, you probably need to spend a little time studying that to make sure you know these. All 5 of these keys on this page are keys you're going to be playing in. And so you really need to know the principal. You really need to know the principal chords in the major keys that you're likely to be playing in. Okay. There we go. Our baritone players, you guys are going to play with me. Same exact skill set as we just used on ukulele, exactly. Okay, played the top line twice and the second line twice. 1, 2. Let me count it correctly. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 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 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 3 and 4 and. And 2 and 3, 4 and. Nope, I ended on an E minor. Messed the last chord up. All right. In traditional Gary fashion, you can pretty much guarantee either the last chord or the chord right before the last one, I'm going to blow. That's what we talked about yesterday. Smooth, trying to keep yourself consistent timing wise, keep your tonality the same as you're playing through there. Just trying to really make it something that's meaningful. To you as a skill set, so that then you can bring it over to the songs that we're going to be playing on. Good morning, Paulina. Paulina's here. Kat's in. Jacqueline. Hi, I am outdoors at Chatfield State Park. Coloradans are outside. We're outside. We're like, oh, vitamin D. Right on. I will mention Chatfield State Park is here in Denver, actually. Chatfield Reservoir. Pretty much, if you are a 19 or 20-year-old boy, that's where you go to cause a problem for the park ranger. Sometimes it's bad over there. I don't know. They have boats. It's a big reservoir. It's I don't know. I don't know. It's not anything. I was sitting talking with Elizabeth last night very briefly about this arpeggiator prep page. I want to just remind you guys that you don't have to always play. There's nothing requiring you to play other people's music. Okay, if you take that top line, I've got the baritone in my hand. I'll just do. I'm writing a song about a Vegemite sandwich. Janice wakes up every morning and she eats one, even though she says it's not very good. I want to try a Vegemite sandwich one of these days. One of these days. Right? It's waiting for you. All you have to do is sit down with an idea and those chords and turn it into something. Okay, you don't even have to sing necessarily. You can take these notes that are sitting right there, and that's where you start. Is holding on to the chord for dear life and playing the notes. What you'll find, which is what I found when I wrote the arpeggiator, was after a while I'm like, well, I don't want to just hold the chord and pick those notes. I want to see what other notes I can use with my other, put a pinky on, take a pinky off, adjust, maybe lift a note up, lift one down, and pretty soon you're a songwriter, and pretty soon you've got no use for Taylor Swift at all, right? You're like, I don't know, who cares what she's writing? What's about what I'm writing? That's not true. We'll always have a use for Taylor Swift. She's lovely. So just know each of those lines is set up for you to write in 5 separate keys. Many of you are like, I'm not really, that's not really my thing yet. Say yet at the end of everything you say when it's not your thing. But Jennifer doesn't know where Chatfield State Park is. We're going to send her a map, and then she'll know what we know. Right? These are great songs. Is somebody writing them down? You're lucky to be seeing art happening in front of you. Okay, let's play the next set. Let's go down to your key of. Let's do the ukulele one first. Key of C arpeggio. We did an overview of it yesterday. So let's go ahead and play this guy. What am I looking for here? Guitar, harmonica, ukulele. All right. And we're playing page 110. All right, let's see. Okay, key of C major, ukulele, baritone players. You guys are following along on the ukulele sheet. And let's give it a try. 1 and 2 3, and 4, and. To the top. Measure 10. Page 2. How do we play? Are we doing? Is this making sense? Whether you played well or not is not, I guess, not important. Did you know what you were supposed to do? I guess is what I'm talking about here. With that particular skill set, these are all chords you knew. You've known these since day 3, I think, or 4 of intro to ukulele class. Probably for most of you, these are the chords you started with on ukulele, and um, then the point of it is there's no weird shapes that I did at all, right? It's entirely the direct, plain old factory issued chords, but now we're doing stuff with our right hand, thumbing up, thumbing down, plucking up, plucking down, not thumbing up, trying all these different things, adjusting the tempo, putting in glissandos. When you see a whole note, thinking, hey, I could add in a couple of extra little doodly doos in there to make it sound prettier. Kind of taking command of the piece of music. That's what we're really trying to focus on here is, hey, I know this new skill set where I can absolutely make people cry at how beautiful my playing is. All right, let's switch now to the baritone version of this. And one of the things that's interesting when you look at the standard notation on baritone music, we're going to play exactly the same tablature, exactly, but the notes go up, and you're like, wait a minute, that doesn't make any sense. The difference is here, the notes go up on the paper because the clef goes down, and so on baritone, we read it on the treble clef, but it's on an octave clef. So in other words, the notes appear to be higher on the paper, but they're actually lower in reality because the ukulele plays out at a octave. The ukulele, the baritone ukulele sounds an octave lower than you write it on the paper. So it's weird that on the standard notation it goes up, but on the baritone itself it comes the tone itself comes down. Okay, that's it. That's pure trivia. I wouldn't worry about it too much. Okay, ukulele players, you're playing your G chord, you're playing your G chord, you're playing your C chord, and you're playing what are the other two? D and D7. So D and D7. Just lift your ring finger, middle finger up. Okay, same skill set. Baritone players, ukulele players. You got some chords to figure out if you know them. 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't like that speed. Let's do a different speed. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. The top of the page. Page 2. Isn't that pretty? That's a nice little song, right? um, what it's I wrote these as etudes, right? You're supposed to be learning something, but they're lovely little tunes, and so it's something that hopefully as you're working on these, you're actually getting some music out of them. And so many of the etudes that I had to do on piano were not songs. They're just like, all right, do this. You're like, okay, I did that. Okay, but in certainly the best etudes that you see floating around from 500 years of music. Usually, the best ones are the ones that have a little bit of a genre to them, right? A little bit of a melody in them, and that's what you got going on here. All right, so I don't want to spend too long on it. You know what you did well, you know what you didn't do so well, and we want to um, do more of the things you did well and less of the things you didn't do so well. Let's go grab Can't Help Falling in Love. We have an ensemble baritone version of this. So, baritone players, you can play your ensemble version of the baritone, which I wrote out specifically to support the ukulele players. However, you don't have to. You can look just directly at the ukulele version of this and then play chords. Okay, so you kind of decide what makes the most sense for you. And really, what we're here is just to double check that the ukulele players who have not been playing this every single day for the last month have a chance to get their hands on it as well. And so I'm busy pulling it up here. Can't help falling in love. I hope I have the correct version in my gadget here. Can't. Nope, falling in love. I do not. Okay, so we'll open it up on the screen here. Um, and let's do this. All right, now I got it. View, review, two-page view. Make it nice and big. All right, so here's a chance for you to practice our adding arpeggios into a pre-existing Tuff uke. Okay, so this is a skill set that you want to master. Okay, here's what the sheet music says. I'm just going to do the first 8 measures. Okay, here's what your sheet music says. Okay, that's what your sheet music says. Okay, baritone players, you might be playing along with the ensemble sheet of music. You can play exactly what's on your tablature with me, and it'll sound fine. Um, on the other hand, I think now I'm questioning myself. Hold on, let me make sure I'm not lying to you. Yes, you can. And what you have is a little bit lower voicing on that, and so it'll sound really nice. Like we will end up being an octave apart. If you're a ukulele player and you're thinking, "Hey, I'm studying these arpeggios for a reason," I'm going to take and I'm going to immediately go to my claw position, and I'm going to go. All right, I'm going to add in an extra note every time there's a half note. And so that's just adding in everywhere where there's a quarter note. I'm just adding in, for the most part, just plucking with my index finger. That's where your arpeggio skills show up. I could make it where I pluck something on every eighth note, and that's what the baritone sheet music is set up to do. So let's try that. Just the first 8 measures. Ready, play. And I changed to half quarter notes. Okay, or you could do something faster there. But that's where this arpeggio skills comes in. You'll notice once I pluck my chord for the Tuff uke, I don't do anything with my left hand. I'm just going to add in some decorations with my right hand. Next chord is A minor, D minor, B flat, F, C. So that's where your arpeggio skills start to pay off when you're like, all right, I'm getting the idea. I hold that chord, I start plucking like wild, and sometimes you'll get lucky and it'll sound amazing, and sometimes you'll hit a bum note and you're like, oh, that doesn't sound good. And then you do less of that, right? And so you do less of the bad stuff and more of the good stuff. I think that's how art works generally is you try to do less of the bad stuff and more of the good stuff. Um, but you never know until you've done a bunch of the bad stuff whether it's going to work or not. All right, so let's play this whole thing. Top to bottom, baritone players, you're either on chords or you are on the ensemble part, whichever one you want to do. Okay, from the top, 4-beat count in. See if you can add any extra notes. We play 1 through 8 twice, and then we play to the end. By the way, when you get down to measure 9, ukulele players, you haven't been having a chance to work on this. This one you almost 9, 10, and 11. I don't see any hope of playing it unless you memorize it. So it's little A minor strum, hit the open chord, and then I have you as 3 and 7, and then 5. Okay, on melody. But if you're playing the lower voice, the tuff uke, I've been doing an 8 on the second string because then my 7 is right there, sliding it down and putting a bar on 5, bar on 4 with the finger on 5. But you could also do what's written there. See, so either of those works just fine. I find that the 8 on the second string rather than the 3 on the first string sets you up for to do this little zero. It sounds kind of cool. Okay. All right. Remember, your goal here is not necessarily to play the song. Your goal here right now is to try to add in some extra notes if you can. Okay. Here we go from the top. 1, 2, 3, 4. To the top. Okay, get ready. Okay, isn't that nice? That's a good song. So all I'm doing in is anytime I see a half note, dotted half note, um, trying to add in a few extra somethings in between there to make it sound pretty. Okay, and then that gets to where you end up with creating your own arrangement, almost as if you were just improvising. Right, you're just following a very expected pattern, which is how most musicians, when they come down to improvising, they're either going to go build off of the chord or they're going to build off the scale of the key that they're working in until they've had a lot of time in college jazz classes and then they start throwing in all these other wacko notes that may or may not make sense and then their job is eventually to resolve them back into the main idea. All right, Elvis play our baritone players. You guys are going to grab your Elvis medley baritone, and all week long you will continually be going back to that one piece of music, the Elvis medley, because yours is already all put together. For you guys, we just have to divide it up into sections, okay? And yours is actually already written out with exactly what I'm doing. So those of you guys that are ukulele players, and you're like, you know what, I don't really understand what he's up to there. Just go look at the baritone one and you'll see exactly what I'm up to. At this point, I've got this basically memorized, and so it's pretty much what I'm doing. We're only going to play from measures 1 down to 8, come back, play 1 through 8 again, and then we're going to play down through measure, where's the end? Dun, 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 dun. Measure 25, through measure 25, and then we'll stop. Okay, so we're only going to do the Can't Help Falling in Love part here. Okay, from the top, ukulele players, you know your C chord. You should know your E minor chord, I'm hoping. A minor, you know that. You know your F chord. You know your G7 chord. Your tough one is B7. Remember, you have, did I give you G7 correctly? Here's G7. You have a D minor here, which is your F chord with the ring finger. That's D minor. And then you also have B7, which is a bar on 2, middle finger up on 3. And I think that's everything. That's all the notes that you are, all the chords you have. Okay, so ukulele players, you are playing with chords. 1, 2, 3, 4. Top. And then we're going to go over into the next section tomorrow. We out of time already. So tomorrow I'll be planning on playing the Love Me Tender section. Baritone players, you've all been playing all along. Ukulele players, you want to double check that you know your C chord, your D chord, your G chord, your E7, your A minor, and your C7, and of course your F chord, A7. So take a minute to read through those. Down through 41, because tomorrow you'll be playing those. I will move Love Me Tender into the next day. Again, with Love Me Tender, baritone players, you have an ensemble version of this one, so you can play along with the ukulele players, or you can do their chords. You need to know these chords too, baritone players. I'm pulling up the ukulele piece of music right now. F chord, G chord, C7, A7, D minor, F7, B flat, you know your B flat on baritone, and D7. And so, guys, on before we let you sneak out of here, on the ukulele version, you get this. Isn't that beautiful? Okay, that's nice. Okay, if you wanted to try finger style. Okay, I just automatically my index finger goes to fill in that whole half note with an extra extra note. You can even jazz it up quite a bit. Let's see, how would I do it? Okay. So if you're going to jazz that one up, you've got a lot of work to put in something between all of the quarter notes, and that may be too much. It may end up sounding ridiculous, or it might sound amazing. It'll end up sounding very much like a Baroque piece of music, right? Something like that. I don't know, mess around with it. But all I'm doing is continuing to hold the chord and adding in extra things in between all of the notes. So tomorrow we'll dig into that one. I think the big opportunities that you have here are again your half notes and and whole notes in here. On the whole notes, I've already filled in a bit of an arpeggio, but you could fancy it up just a little bit. The other possible thing for those of you guys who are really advanced, right? You get to "And I love you so." Grab this F chord, or put it in a different F shape and see what happens, or maybe add your pinky on. To create a different texture to it, to create your version of "Love Me Tender." All right, so we've got here's the wrap up of what I'm hoping that you're getting out of this. One, hoping that your right hand is starting to get where it's getting arpeggio picking. It doesn't matter if you're great at it yet. It's just we're starting to teach your right hand to be as smooth and as thoughtful and as consistent as possible. We're then using that as a tool to dive into playing nice etudes in the key of C arpeggio or G for baritone, so that you have a little bit of a song surrounding this arpeggio picking technique to make it kind of fun to do. We took "Can't Help Falling in Love" and we added a bunch of extra notes in where we could. If that's still too much, right, you're just playing the Tuff uke, and if that's too much, you're still playing the melody. Okay. You are grabbing chords from the opposite instrument. So if you're on baritone, you're learning the ukulele chords, and if you're learning, to accompany a ukulele player using those chords, same thing the other way. And then we just visited very briefly on "Love Me Tender," where we'll move that to tomorrow as well. So tomorrow we'll do we will do the the arpeggio prep page. We'll do the top 3 of those. We will do "Can't Help Falling in Love." No, we won't. We'll do "Love Me Tender," and then we'll look at "Aloha Oi" and the key of G arpeggio. So I'm just sort of pushing this stuff down day to day. Don't print anything out off of Wednesday yet, because I am going to update the sheets for those as well as for Thursday. So don't print that stuff out quite yet, and we'll make it nice so that it works, so that it all makes sense. And that's what I know, right? So we're starting some new material, but we're going to be hanging on to all of the skill set that goes with it. And so you're going to end up being a crazy smart ukulele player, and you're going to be wondering what to do with yourself. And you'll be like, well, I know everything there is to know about ukulele. Maybe it's time that I pick up, start playing the sitar. And yeah, so there we go. That's what I know. Okay, keep working on it. Let's see, where did I leave off? We were talking about Vegemite. Let's see. Pauline, Cat, Jacqueline. Oh, there we are. Linda, that was fun. Oh, yeah, Linda, good to see you today. It's not as fun as whale watching, but it's pretty good. Kari gives me a slash. I agree. Evelyn, the baritone version of "Can't Help Falling in Love" is so sweet. Tempts me to get a baritone uke, but they are not available here. Yeah. Some of you are thoughtful, mindful people and are positive that Amazon is ruining the world, and it may be. But if you go to Amazon and you order a Kala ukulele, it will probably be okay. Let's put it that way. when you order something, when you order a ukulele, if you get, obviously if you're here in town, I want you to come see me because we'll hook you up correctly. But if you're not, and it doesn't make sense to order from me because once you factor in shipping, it doesn't make any sense. But if you do order from Amazon, which usually for most everybody it does make sense because shipping's free. I don't know how they're doing that. That's where the sneaky part of that is. Um, when it shows up, check the neck. Check the neck. I was playing this one today, and I talked about it in the previous class. This ukulele looks lovely, doesn't it? It's awesome, except for the fact when I look down the neck, it goes zip, and then there's a big drop off, and then it goes through the rest of the way, and that's why you get that sound, and then you get that sound, and then this fret has exactly the same sound as this sound. That's not right. And then it jumps up a whole fret, a whole note here. No, it does nothing there. Then it jumps up, right? So that's because the neck is bent, and you cannot fix a bent neck on a ukulele. And I actually carry high ends of this company, but their low end stuff sometimes is not so good. Okay. And I love them to death for their high end merchandise, their low end stuff. That's the stuff that comes from Guitar Center, and it's bleh. So if you order a baritone from Amazon, get a Kala. I've only played one bad Kala out of hundreds, and just when it shows up, check the neck. Make sure the neck is straight, and then you'll be fine. So it's not as good. I don't think they're as good. This Bohana that I sell here is just ridiculous how beautiful it is, and so that's what I recommend you buy. But I don't know if they'll ship it to you outside of being a dealer. Let's see. You can order online. I have a Kala. Okay, so Jennifer did that. Yeah. I do like the sound of the baritone, but I feel like I need to work harder at ukulele first. Yeah, I think that's a perfectly legitimate approach too. Get good at ukulele, and then at some point you're like, boy, it'd be nice to have something else to learn, right? But it does. Your brain kind of, and Jennifer, who's an experienced musician, would probably agree with me on this. Right now, her brain is you got to have ukulele brain on, you got to have baritone brain on, and Jennifer probably has to have singing brain and piano brain and whatever other instrument she plays. So I don't necessarily recommend you rush out and get a baritone until you have a pretty good handle on ukulele. So yeah. That's perfect. It sounds pretty, right? It's a nice thing to add to your arsenal, but get good at ukulele first. Really need to get better at remembering the chords and not depending on the chart. That's something we all need to do. Okay, that's something we all need to do, and that's where the baritone brain and the because like when I'm playing all day long, I got all these chord charts in front of me. I just have to know, and so it does take a little bit of time to do that. Cindy, good to see you. Pam, so sad that I have to go back to work, and oh, Pam, that's the worst. Call up and quit your job. That's what you should do. Tell them, hey, I got ukulele to study, so I'm not coming back. No, don't do that. Uh, Laurel, gonna go enjoy the weather today. Thanks for another thing. You're welcome, Pauline. Jacqueline, gonna try to strum with these musicians here. Two guitars, a bass, and a mandolin. We'll see. You're gonna do great, Jacqueline. You're gonna do great. You're the chords, right? Mandolin player's the lead. The mandolin player should play the melody, and you're gonna do chords. So heck yeah, you'll sound great. Guitar player, well, you know how guitar players are. They do whatever they think they can do. The bass player and the mandolin player will be they'll be your friends. The bass player is going to play the root notes, mandolin player is going to play the melody, and you're going to be filling in. You'll be filling in at that higher pitch, whereas the guitar player will be filling in at a lower pitch. It'll sound beautiful. You'll be awesome. Tell me how it goes. Elizabeth, have a wonderful day. Jennifer, the buzzing happened on my bent baritone here. I returned it. The collar baritone has a bar in the middle. It can be adjusted. Yeah. So yeah, there you go. That's a good thing. Some of the modern baritones have truss rods in them, and some don't. This is a 1971 baritone. There's no truss rod in here, but some of them do. Some of them don't. Patty, have a great day. Carol, oh good, Carol, good to see you. Glad you're here. Janice, okay, I'll see you tomorrow. Enjoy your Vegemite sandwich. Lynn, I'll see you tomorrow. Renee, Ronnie, I'll see you tomorrow. Chris, I'll see you tomorrow. Uh, All right, Amy. Good to see you. All right, I'm going to pull the plug, guys. Have a wonderful afternoon, and I will see all of you tomorrow.